Hello and welcome to another edition of Andy's Shed Live. This is Series 10, Episode 17 for Sunday the 24th of April 2021. Hello there and welcome to the show. We are back after a week's break last week. I hope you're all well and out there in whatever land it is you happen to be in. Yeah, we're a little bit later than normal tonight, and the camera's moved a bit as well. That's a bit weird having it over there. But yeah, we're here basically after the break last week. It was very strange. I had a Sunday night where I didn't have to do anything last week. It was amazing. It was just like a normal day. Quite incredible, really. But yeah, so we've been getting stuff sorted out. I had a lot of backlog of things to do, and some of them I actually managed to get them done over Easter, so that was pretty good, wasn't it? Of course, I've still got a load of junk here behind me, as you can see. But we are gradually sorting through it, and we are gradually getting things done. Hello to everybody who is out there in the chat. I'm just going to put it on live chat because it was on top chat again, stupidly. So let's put it on live chat and see what everybody's been up to. Keeps skipping around, this does. Dominic says he's finally got his hands on a BT 8100R, a Dial Ambassador in Busby Yellow. Oh, you've got the other one then, Dominic, because I've got one of those as well. But I have only got one. So I like how they cleverly used a reverse BT plug for where the handset cord terminates in the phone. Yes. The Dial Ambassador is a weird thing. I can't even show you a picture of one. The one that I've got is buried in a box somewhere at the moment, and I'm not entirely sure where it is. But yes, it's a strange thing, a Dial Ambassador, but they're built like a tank. You know, drop one of those on the floor and you probably won't break it. Not that I'm suggesting you try it, but yeah, they're pretty good, those Dial Ambassadors, and quite rare as well. I don't know why they're so rare, because they're relatively modern. They must not have made many of them. So who's here? Besides Dominic, we've got Penfold, we've got Jimmy, we've got Wesley, Gambo's here. All the usual suspects, of course. If you're here but you are not in the chat room, remember you can get into the chat room by watching us on YouTube, just in case you're watching on any other sort of platform. And if you are watching after the event, then that's why the chat is scrolling here, so you can still see what I'm talking about and what I'm replying to, even if you're watching after the event on something like a smart TV where you can't see the chat playback. That's the idea of it. Right. Remember, we also have a website that supports the show as well. The website is here, andyshed.callpress.net. And we also have a forum. gpotelephones.proboards.com is the forum, and we've got a shop as well, andsemporium.callpress.net. That's the shop site, so you can browse around any of those that you fancy, and yeah, buy something in the shop or have a chat on the forum. That we don't bite much. Right, we will crack on today. It's a little bit shorter show today than normal. You may have noticed we started a bit later than we normally do. Some would say we started the same time as we normally do because we're normally late. But yes, you know who you are. But yeah, we're here now. I've been out buying stuff this week. I've been out and about actually, buying capacitors and things. Can you see them? Yeah, there. Yeah, capacitors and things for various restoration projects, including video machines. Yes, the U-matic video machines. I've finally got some of the capacitors required for the U-matic. What is it? These ones. 0.22 microfarad and 3.3 kilo ohm resistors as well, from these guys at CPC. This is not a sponsored video, it's just where the resistors come from. I'm not entirely sure they've sent me the right ones actually, because the ones they've sent me seem to be film resistors because they're blue, and I wasn't expecting that, but not to worry, they still work. They're still basically 3.3 kilo ohm resistors. The question is, how many watts do the resistors need to be in a phone? Because I've not quite worked that out. I think these are quarter watt, and I've used these before, and they seem to work, but you can get different wattage of resistors, and nobody seems to know. Everybody says put these 3.3 kilo ohm resistors in, which we know about, but nobody seems to quite know what wattage the resistors should be. Alright. Dominic says he's going to pop some photos up on the forum of the phone. Says it's currently plugged in and sitting on the shelf. Are you using it then, Dominic? Is it usable? Because mine wasn't when it arrived. Mine had issues with the circuit board and the wiring and that, and I had to do some clever things with taking pictures of the circuit board to work out what wires went where. What I did, because the tracks are on one side of the circuit board and all the components are on the other, and you can't work out what track goes to what component very easily, what I did was I took a picture of each side of the circuit board. I then flipped as a mirror one of the pictures of one side of the board, then superimposed it over the top of the other picture, with sort of half transparency, so you could see both sides on one photo sort of thing, so I could work out what components were wired to what tracks, and then I found some faults then on the tracks. I think it was dry solder joints, if I remember right, and I reflowed them, and it was okay then. Wesley says 0.25 watt resistors will be fine. He's sure. Yeah, I think so, Wesley. I'm sure I've used them before, but I've also used bigger resistors than this before. Just physically bigger ones, which are a higher wattage. But I think they'll be fine. And like I say, they came from CPC, and I think they were a couple of quid for a packet. How many's in it? 50. In fact, they might not even have been 2 quid. They might have been like 99p or something like that. But not expensive. Not expensive. So don't go buying these resistors off these rip-off artists on eBay who try to charge you like 4 or 5 quid for about 3 or 4 resistors. It's just bonkers. Dominic says the Ambassador worked perfectly out of the box. Wow, very cool. And Gambo's building phones as well at the minute. He says, I'm building a 232 pyramid style phone. I've not sourced the bell set. I'm waiting on certain bids via eBay for other parts. But your video of the assembly of one was a big help, Andy. Did I do an assembly video of a 232? I've got one under the desk here. Because somebody asked me about this the other week, didn't they? And I got this one out from under the desk the other week. But yeah, they're tricky, 232s. They are tricky. The thing to ask yourself about them is, where is the induction coil? Because with a 232, the induction coil is supposed to be in the phone, in the actual phone part, which means you can then use a bell set 26 underneath it, which doesn't have the induction coil in it. But some unscrupulous restorers have been taking the induction coils out of 232s and wiring them without an induction coil. So if you're thinking about getting a 232, anybody out there, just watch out for that, because it's a known thing that some of the unscrupulous restorers have been taking the induction coils out and selling the induction coils separately. So make sure your 232's got an induction coil in it. I said, not sourced the bell set yet, and waiting on certain bids via eBay for other parts. The bell set will probably be a bell set 26 on it then, that you're having for that. Are you going to put the bell set underneath it? Are you going to attach the bell set to it, Gambo, and make it into what they now call, quite wrongly actually, because they were never called this back in the day, a king pyramid? Right, I think this one's a king pyramid under here, isn't it? This one. Yeah, this one. This one's been made into a king pyramid. This one. But yeah, I'll tell you something. They are incredibly heavy when they've got the bell set attached to them. They really, really are heavy. Do not drop it on your toes, because it'll go through the floor and take your foot with it probably. Well, yeah. But then, yeah, they're an interesting thing. One thing about those is the cable on them. I'm hoping to be doing a thing on how to make the cords for those soon. So don't go buying the expensive line cords off eBay, because hopefully there's a much cheaper way of doing it, and I'm just looking into it now, but in a few weeks time I might have that on. It's something that I've been wanting to do for a while and I keep forgetting. But yeah, the cords, because I need some of that braided cord for some candlestick phones that I'm doing, that had been turned into table lamps, but I'm now turning back into phones. Wesley says, I'm not sure why they'd take the induction coils out. I had two from 200s and 300s, and they took 6 months to sell, and for not much money. Yeah, they do take them out though. They do take them out. I think it's just rubbish restorers that basically don't understand how to wire them. I think that's the reason. But all the induction coils also are different values, I believe. And the one that goes inside a bell set 25, which is the difference between a bell set 25 and a 26, because if it's a bell set 25 it's got an induction coil in. If it's a bell set 26 it's not got the induction coil in, just a gap where it should be. I have got a stack of bell set 26s and I need some bell set 25s, so I do need that induction coil that goes in those, and I think I managed to get one from somewhere. think I got one in a bag of bits from somewhere that I've put into one of them to turn it into a 25. But yeah, you get lots of Bellset 26s. They're easy to find, Bellset 26s. 25s are very difficult to find. Gambo says, yeah, he's going to connect the phone and the Bellset together so it sits on top of each other. In that case then, Gambo, when you get the Bellset, you need to make sure you get the Bellset with the special screws in it that you can reverse to connect it all together. They're special screws with like a recess in the top. But if you look it up online, you'll find the differences. Dominic says, how's the radio station coming along? And Wesley says, how is the EV, Andy? Both things are coming along. Both things have been in use today to one to take me to the other. The radio station. You may remember that with the radio station we had an issue that we couldn't get broadband because the address wasn't registered with the post office. I'm pleased to say the address is registered with the post office now, and it's gradually filtering through onto broadband providers' websites. So I'm just letting that filter through onto more of the websites so I can actually click my actual address on the websites of the broadband providers, and then we should get the broadband going. I've been struggling with compressor limiters today. For any of you that know anything about audio, know what a compressor limiter is. Basically, it's a thing that limits the peaks of the audio. I've been really struggling with setting one of those up today because there's a lot of buttons and little dials on it to turn. And it's basically took me about 4 hours today to do it. So I've had a real struggle with that this morning, but I think I've about sussed it. And the next thing I've got to do now is to build a small PC that will take the signal basically from the mixing desk and from the compressor limiter, and will actually broadcast it out to an off-site server that will then distribute it as a stream. So basically it's PC building time, and it's complicated because the PC really needs to be silent, so something that's not got fans in, but it also needs to be quite powerful. So that's a tricky balance to achieve at a reasonable cost. So we're just working on that at the minute. I'm wondering if a Raspberry Pi will do it, because of course Raspberry Pis are silent, and the modern Raspberry Pis are actually quite powerful. So I'm considering a Raspberry Pi for that. So watch this space. But there are a couple of new episodes of How to Build a Radio Station in the can, just waiting for a bit of editing, and then they'll be up. I was hoping to have one up over Easter, but I just didn't get round to it. The electric car, the Peugeot Ion, is actually doing quite well. It's doing roughly 50 miles on a charge, which is okay for what I want it for. I mean, there are certain things I do that it won't do, because you know you just need to charge it up part way through the day, and you're not always at a place where you can do that. But yeah, it's saved a fair bit of money, whereas my diesel van used to go out every day. It now goes out about once a week. So the electric car is saving some money, hopefully. It says it'll be interesting to see it all coming together. Yeah, the radio station is coming together, Dominic. It's sort of getting there. It all looks a bit of a mess at the minute, as you'll see when the videos come out, because there's like cables everywhere and stuff jerry-rigged together just to test it. Because to complicate matters with it, if I was just doing a modern radio station, it would be relatively easy. But because I'm doing a modern playout system, but also trying to integrate some old pieces of kit in with it, like Dominic, like your reel-to-reel tape machine, and I've now got a cart machine as well, a radio cart machine. Because I'm trying to integrate stuff like that into it, it makes it a bit more complicated. Because the difficult part about it is the levels from everything, is getting the audio levels right between everything, and setting all that up, and it's quite challenging. It's a bit of a head scratcher. You have to sit and really think about it, and quite a lot of the stuff, quite a lot of the equipment, including the mixer, as you've seen on previous episodes of the How to Start a Radio Station, I found faults on. So as I've been going along, I've had to mend faults with some of the kit as well, which in a way is good, because you learn how to do it, and it's kind of what it's all about really. It's the challenge of doing it on a budget. Now I do know a chap who is starting a similar radio station over in Nottingham at the minute, and he is doing it with all brand new computers and brand new everything, and that, but it's costing him a lot more than it's costing me. So the contrast between the two is quite interesting. Don't it say there's a TC17 in the studio? It is, Dominic. It's in the studio and it's working. It's I've played stuff on it. I've plugged headphones into it and played stuff on it. I've just not coupled it up into the main board yet, because couple it into the main board is quite a challenge. But yeah, it's going to be one of the next things on the list to do. I nearly did it today if I'd have had the right connectors and things, because I wanted to test the play out coming out of the limiter today, because it goes like microphones and things, then it goes through the mixer, then it goes through the limiter, and then it goes into whatever computer we use to either record or send it out on the stream. And I need to build that computer basically, but until I've built that computer to record or send out on the stream, I've considered using the tape deck to record the output from the compressor limiter, just so we can see what the thing's actually going to sound like on air, the station, when it's gone through the compressor and that. But I just didn't have all the connections that fitted together, because the connections on everything are different. Some things have got phono collectors on, and some things have got like multi-pin DIN connectors on, and some things have got XLR connectors on, and so every few days I seem to be ordering another cable that's got some weird combination of plugs and sockets on the end of it to fit something together, and I've now found today that I need another one for the tape machine. So yeah, it's all coming together though. It is starting to look like a proper radio studio. It is, you know, there's starting to get lots of stuff on the desk and things. So yeah, it's getting there slowly. But at this time of year, when the sun comes out, there's other stuff to do outside as well. So it's kind of took a little bit of a back seat over the last few weeks. But hopefully I will be down there again tomorrow. And once we get the internet installed and working, then maybe one of these Sunday live streams might well actually come from the radio studio, so you can see how it's getting on, which would be rather good. Quite like to do that from there. Oh, somebody's told me the building's haunted as well this week, which is not what you want to hear when you're there on your own on a Sunday. Right, shall we crack on with what we're doing? Telephones have been a bit after a sort of flurry of telephones arriving. It's gone a bit quiet over the last couple of weeks, but there were some arrived a couple of weeks ago that I haven't shown you yet. And they are these. Now this is in bits, but this is a wall phone, but it's in bits, as you can see. It's got bits missing. And as usual, I'm getting tied up in cables. And we've got the table version of it as well, which at first glance looks quite good, but really isn't when you look at it up close. You'll see there's a chunk out of it there, but also there is a humongous crack in it that runs from there up here, right along here, and right up here somewhere. A massive crack. Now what's it made out of? That's a very good question. I have a feeling, because of how shiny it is, it may be Diacon. So if that's the case, this is making my find a way to repair Diacon quite urgent. So yeah, we have these. So we'll have a little look, shall we, at them, and see what we can do. Shall we have a look at, which one shall we have a look at first? Shall we look at the table version first? Oh, hang on, get this one out of the way a minute. So here is the table telephone. Dial seems to work quite well. No problem with the dial. The handset's in good nick as well. The handset's in really good condition actually. Cord, not so great. But let's have a little look underneath. There's a number 617, so perhaps that's the date, so perhaps it dates from 1961. That would seem alright for Diacon. Now I've got no clue how you get these apart. I'm not even sure what part of the world these are from. Are they German, these? But I've got no clue how you get them apart. I am assuming it's these two screws that look fairly conspicuous. So let's see what happens. They seem to be retained. Is that foreign? Says Jimmy. Yes, it is. Right. So there we go. Oh, hang on. Oh, that's a bit silly. There's a... The dial is clipped in and then the cable is retained. So to get the, can you see that? The cable is held in there under that screw. So to have a fighting chance of getting it apart, you've got to sort of put it like that, now side by side like that. And it's pretty good inside. This is the switch hook, or hook switch rather. And I'm not rightly sure what this is. I don't think they are actually supposed to connect together, because on this side here, this isn't wired to anything. But the other side is, there's three connections on this side of it here. 1, 2, 3. They've all got little pads that touch there. When you open it, and when you press that down, which is the equivalent to putting the receiver on the hook, and you press that down, all of these open. So there is then no connectivity, and it looks like it's okay. So it looks like it'll probably work. It's got a monocoil bell. The bell just has one coil. The question is, across the bell, how many ohms would it be? Would it need a resistor in? And there's stuff written on the bell, but I just can't read it from where I am. Stuff written on the coil, but I just can't read it. And then we've got all this lot in the back. Now we've got this is the line cord coming in here, and it's got 4 cores. It's got a brown, a yellow, a green, and a white, and they're all connected to something. So we need to do a bit of research and find out what should be connected to what on there. I'm not liking that white wire there. That looks as if it's been hot or something across there, and it's, I don't know if you can see that or not. It looks like it's been hot or something, and it's melted through the insulation on that. But that is only on the handset cord, so what earth is going on there? Maybe somebody dropped a soldering iron on it or something at some point. But yeah, this all looks very clean inside, doesn't it? There are a couple of pasters in there with tiny little circuit diagrams on. So I might have to take a photo of those and have a little look at them. But yeah, it's all remarkably clean. This, it doesn't look as if it's been used. I've got a 560 date inside here, just here. If I can tip that where you can see it. You can see that there, 560 written in red. So that seems to be 1960-ish. So that would be about the right sort of era probably for it to be Diacon. And you can see inside here, all here where it's all cracked. In fact, if I do that, you can see as it opens up how badly that case is cracked. So yeah, not good at all, really, that. So we need to find a way of putting the Diacon back together. So I'm going to stick it back together for now. I'm not going to do anything with it today because I've got to do some research on the wiring and what the colours in the cord do, to figure out how you wire these for the British system. Well, that seems to work quite nicely. I like the green numbers on that. What I don't like on these is this massive nut in the middle of the dial. I really don't like that. So we'll stick this one back together. For now, it all seems complete inside. So we'll stick it back together and have a look at the other one, which is, I think, the same phone but a wall version of it. This is the W48, I believe. These came to me together. So there's one. So stick that one back on the floor a minute and I'll get the other one. Right. So here now is the black one. This one is held together differently, so maybe it is a different era of phone, this slightly. There seems to be two screws in the top there that are withdrawn on this, and one in the bottom there, which I could unscrew a bit. And then I think the back should just lift out. Isn't it? Oh yeah, the case will lift off. Right. So nope, those screws are going to hinder that lifting off there. Oh, that's better. These screws don't feel right. These feel like they're going to turn out to be brass wood screws. But they're not. They are proper machine screws, which I wasn't expecting. Again, it's clamped. And there it's got similar paster labels there. And it similarly just looks older though, this one, but it is similar inside. And again we've got white, brown, yellow and green on the line cord, which is a plastic line cord, and a cloth covered handset cord. One plus 0.3 microfarad capacitor. Here's your induction coil, I guess. Again, a monocoil bell, and none of the gizmo on this, because it's a wall phone. I've not got the bit that goes in there to push that apart. But on this one it's different, because this one has got things wired on both sides. So when you push that apart, it's going to break a contact and make a contact on that side, and it's going to do similar, make one and break one on that side as well. So all interesting stuff. And we've got a button here, which I'm guessing is probably some sort of redial button or something like that. A bit sticky, that. But we've got a, what is this? This is some sort of resistor, I think. Oh no, it's an old capacitor. 0.022 microfarads, 250 volts. So that's an old capacitor that's been stuck in there. I'm not quite sure what that is doing. But yeah, we need to find the wiring diagrams and that out for these. Like I say, there is a paster stuck in here, but I need to do a bit of research. Alright. Dominic says these look like German. Yeah, I think they are German, Dominic, these. Yeah, it says Unrecord base W48 German, same as my one. Well made, from 1948. Penfold says, what does the diagram on the case say? Right, the diagram on the case is a bit small to read. I will try and get this under the camera. Now, how do I do this easily? I put my hand under the camera first. I'll try and focus it on my finger. Then everything else will be out of focus because it's quite heavy to hold up, you see. So I'll now do that. Then I can pick this up, and hopefully you can then, if I get this in the right place, see. No, it's not going to work, this, is it? It's not. It's going to swamp out on the camera. What? Yeah, I'll take a picture of it, and then next week or something I'll show you the picture that I've taken of it. I'll get it in the GIMP photo editor, and hopefully we'll be able to get a decent look at it then. Unless of course I can find a copy of it online somewhere. So yeah, but they both seem complete on the inside, so it's basically bodywork bits that it looks like we're needing to get these going. But I only bought them because they were cheap. I don't find them particularly nice phones, these. I think they're quite ugly with that nut in the middle of the dial. Kind of spoils the look of them a bit, I think, that. Right, so I'll see if we can screw this back together now then. So, one screw 2 screws in the top of here. Like that. 1. And 2. What's the dial like on this one? Yeah, reasonable. Seems to come back okay. I have got similar but different dials down here. Again with the nut in the middle. But I think these are newer dials. I think these are more modern version. And I've just noticed something with this. And it's the same with this one. Now these dials are dials that I got separately. They just look similar. So, but these 2 dials, I don't know how this is, but the dial okay, you see, but can you see what's wrong with them? The shape of the finger stop is angled the wrong way. When you dial round there, it should be angled for your finger to fit in to. Like on here, you see, when you dial round, it's shaped for your finger to fit into it. Now, but this one is not, it's the other way around. How strange. Now, if anybody can shed any light on why that is, I'd be very interested to know. But yeah, those 2 dials that came together, looks like one out of an ivory phone or one out of a black one, are basically the same dial. I mean, this one looks a bit strange because the numbered plate in there was spun around a bit, but yeah, that finger stop is totally the wrong way round. It should be facing the other way, but you can't make it face the other way, you can't turn it over. So what's going on there? Answers on the proverbial postcard, please. Very strange. So yeah, we'll do more on these German phones very soon. Right, let me try and sort my cables out here, because my problem when I'm doing anything with these telephones is I get tangled up in cables on a fairly regular basis, it seems. Again, the strain relief is completely kaput on that by the looks of it. I think the remains of something rubber-ish that's gone all hard and brittle and broken. It shouldn't be shoved in there, but yeah, oh well. Right. Okay. We will wait for another day to do something like that, I think. But it's there anyway. Waiting its turn in the restoration queue, like many other things at the moment. So yeah, so that's the telephones that have appeared recently. Right, what's everybody up to in the chat? Yeah, it says I did a YouTube video on this phone showing the innards. Cool. Have you wired it up? Do you know what wires go where? I'll have to watch your video on that. Yeah. You're the same name on YouTube, aren't you? You get one on YouTube. Yeah, I believe. I can't remember if I've watched that one or not. I've watched quite a lot of yours, but I can't remember if I watched that one or not. I don't remember. See, I just don't remember stuff in general. This is my problem. So, but yeah, we'll have to have a little look after the show. I will have a viewing of it and see. So that's all that's arrived really on the telephone front recently. I'm still working on trim phone handsets. I'm still restoring trim phone handsets. Here's another one that was broken. The problem with these is they break across there. You know, when you're using them, I think people go and they break across there. And this is another one that I've repaired, basically. If can we get it in focus, this? Yeah, and there is the repair. Now you can't see it. It's actually strange because on this camera, which does extreme close-ups, it looked worse than it is, but I've done that side as well, you see, and on that side you can't actually see where the crack was. On this side you can still see a bit. It does need a bit more rubbing down on this side, but this was actually in two complete pieces. You know, it was in two halves, this, but it needs a bit more work on that side. But that side is now pretty good, and once it's polished up, because I just need to, that feels smooth to the touch, but it's not smooth to look at. So once that is polished up, I think that crack will have completely disappeared on there, and I think it'll go on the other side as well with a bit of persuasion. I think it'll totally disappear on the other side as well, which would be good. So I've been doing those again. I think I've got about 40 or 50 to do in total. But yeah, so there'll be a lot of trim phones that will live again, thanks to the crack repair. But some of them aren't so easy, because this one, you see, here, what did we do on this one? What did we repair on this one? Oh, we repaired the crack on this side, on this one. On there. There was a crack there that went along there. If you can see it, hopefully you can't. You can see a bit where it was, because there's a bit of a witness mark where it's actually the original colour of the phone and the rest of it's yellowed a bit. But that, you see, that was cracked right across there, and that's the repair that we've done on it. But I've now found, and this is why this one's still on the side here, I've now found a little hairline crack just there on that side as well, that needs a bit of attention, which you can see under that camera there. Can you see it there? Can you see that little crack there? So we've got to do something about that, like we did on that side where it's all been cleaned up. And again, when that is polished properly, I'm hoping that will totally disappear. But I've got to do a bit on that side as well. I think the problem is the plastic is so thin. If you look how thin this plastic is here, of this casing, It's really, really thin compared to something like the casing on a 746. It's mega thin. And it seems to be under some pressure as well, because with this being slightly curved, it's always wanting to bow outwards. So it's kind of got some forces acting on it, trying to pull it apart, sort of thing. So it's not the best design I've ever seen. The old trim foam. The handset is not a great design. It has this breakage problem that you need to do something about. But we can do something about it. I mean, proof is there that we can do something. So if you've got a trim foam with a handset that's broken in half, do not despair. If the handset is physically snapped in half, don't worry. It can be put back together, and it can be put back together fairly invisibly. In fact, if anything, it seems to work better on trim phone handsets than it does on 746s and 706s for some reason. I don't know why, but it does. It does seem to work better. Right, okie dokie. I think that probably about wraps it up for this week. I did say it was going to be a little bit shorter than normal, but thanks to everybody for watching once again. We will be back next week around about the same time, same place. Maybe even a little bit earlier. Maybe actually at 6 o'clock next week. Who knows? We might have got some news about the radio station by then. I'm kind of hoping it's going to go forward relatively quickly now. But yeah, it's been dragging its heels a bit, but hopefully now things will start moving with it. So all that remains for me to say is thank you to everybody for watching today. There will be more telephone stuff coming up as well, so stick with it. I will do a bit of research on these German phones over the week ahead, and I will let you know what's going on there. Remember, if you like what we do here and you want to support the channel, you can do. We do have a Patreon account, which is here. Patreon.com/Andy Shed. I know a lot of you are already subscribed to that and are members of that, and my thanks to those of you who are already. Just basically the equivalent of £1 a month, and you'll get access to the Patreon blog that we do occasionally, and of course the main reason for it is to support this show, and so we can keep going and keep buying things like all this stuff that's down on the floor by my feet here. Right, that is about as far as we go for today. Before we finish though, I just want to ask your opinion on one thing. You may have seen this on a few weeks ago. This upside down 706 or 1/706 or whatever they call it came to me. I'm not sure if it was originally an upside down phone or not. I think it probably was. It's an early one because it's got the domed feet on it, so it's sort of pre-1964-ish. The question is, it looks like it's been made out of bits. Of course, this is a colourway that never existed. It's got the grey dial bezel, it's got a green case and a black handset. So it kind of looks like it's been made out of bits. My question to you, I want your opinion on restoring this. Should we restore this as a grey phone, a green phone, a black phone, or should we leave it the way it is with all the mixed up colours? So should we restore it as a grey phone, a green phone, a black phone, or should we leave it the way it is with all the mixed up colours? Now there's no way, as far as I'm aware, of knowing what colour it was originally. So this is why I'm asking the question. Do we put it into a known colourway, or do we restore it as it is? Let me know in the comments, and we'll do it in the weeks to come. We will get it sorted out in the weeks to come. So should it be a green phone, a grey phone, a black phone, or should it be all the bits that you see here? Cool. Right, that is about it for now. Wesley says, I vote grey. Why? I didn't think anybody would vote grey. Gambo says, keep it as it is. See, I'm always amazed when people vote grey, because so many are grey, you know. You know, if you're going to get a phone these days, chances are it's going to be a grey one. If it's not an ivory one, it's a grey one. And there's just so many of them about. I get a bit fed up with the grey ones. But a chap I know who sells quite a few restored phones on Etsy, he says there's great demand for grey ones, and you lot are all just not helping at all, because one of you said grey, one of you said keep it as it is, two of you have said black so far. Gambo says he'll need help with his American one. Oh, he's posted. Gambo says he's posted the intercom pictures on the forum as well. Excellent, Gambo. Go and have a look at that in a minute. Dominic says, I think leave this phone as it is, as perhaps it was made out of spares. Good point, Dominic. Perhaps it was. What we don't know is any history about it, and there's nothing at all to help us on the back. Absolutely nothing. It's blankety blank on the back of there. So that's why I was asking you guys. So I think there's 2 votes for keep it as it is, and I think there's 2 votes for black, I think. Right. 1 vote for grey so far. Wesley says, I remember upside down phones at work years ago, and they were all grey. Interesting. Gambo says, I bought an American 500, but it's not the same wiring as your vid, so need help. Right. Yeah, we'll see what we can do, Gambo. We'll see what we can do. In general, though, with an American 500, all you need to do is find out what your A and B legs of your line are going into it, and couple them to the red and the white of a normal GPO line cord, and just forget about the blue and forget about the green, and in general that works. You certainly don't need a resistor or anything in a American 500 because they're 1 red. But yeah, we will see what we can do. I've got a few 500s. In fact, there is one on the floor here. Shall we have a look before we go and see if your wiring is like this one here? Sure, I had this one on. Hey. few weeks ago. Right. Here's one. An American 500. I will just unwind its cords and things because I've sort of tied it all up because, like I say, I get terribly tangled up in cords. Right, so here's your 500. Now, do you remember a few weeks ago when I said 500s are easy to get the case on and off of, far easier than a British phone, and then I had trouble with this one? Do you remember? This is the phone, right? So here we are. This one dates from 1979. 500M. So we'll have a quick look, see what we can do. That screw is retained. This screw should also be retained. Dominic says, which do you prefer, Andy, the Model 500 or the Dial Ambassador? That's a hard one. Between those two things as a choice. Yeah, that's a difficult one. The Dial Ambassador is probably built better, although I had problems with mine. I think the 500 probably just has the edge, purely and simply because of all those very cool American television shows that I remember it from the sort of 1970s. You know, and like in things like Charlie's Angels and Fantasy Island and The Fall Guy and stuff like that. Right, here we are. Here is a 500. Right, and this one has been altered for what they call modular. So it's had these little sockets put in. Right. So there's a red, yellow and green. Now I believe in America red and green are the legs of your line, and yellow is a bit like a bell wire sort of thing. So where do they go? Right. Red goes on to L2, which is line 2, which is on this corner here of what they call the network, the big block they call the network. Green goes on to line 1, yeah? And yellow goes on to G, which is between them. Yeah, which is there. So red, line 2, green, L1, yellow, G, which is between the two. That's just on this kind of network, which is a 4258 network, which I'm reading off the side there. Right at the bottom there, you probably can't read it this far away, but right at the bottom there, where my finger's just over it now, in tiny lettering, is 4258. That is your network type. Can I put it under there so you can actually see it? There, can you see that? Or is it 425B even? See, the 425B or 4258, I'm thinking, looking at that, it's 425B. Yeah, it is, isn't it? It's 425B, that I'm pretty sure. So there's your network, and this thing on the side, you see, is this paster on the side corresponds to the things on the top. If you imagine just sliding that up and onto the top, then it corresponds to what's on the top. So the bottom of there, you see, L2, well, if you were to slide that round up onto the top, it's an elongated connection, look, and if you slide it round onto the top, it's this one, which is where this red wire goes, and it is an elongated connection. It's actually got two connectors onto it. Then just inboard of that a bit is G, which is this one here, which is just inboard of it a bit, and then the next one along is L1, which is there. That one that I've got my finger on now is L1, which is on its own. So if that's the network you've got, Gambo, oh, it says mine is different to that. Oh, right. Penfold says the Rockford Files was my favourite. How can your favourite not be Charlie's Angels? That's what I want to know. How can anybody's favourite not be Charlie's Angels? It's just impossible. I even like the new one with Drew Barrymore. The Rockford Files, crikey. I remember the Rockford Files. It used to be Saturday night, didn't it, the Rockford Files? BBC One, I think. It used to be late night as well, the Rockford Files. It used to be on quite late, the Rockford Files. So, it's not like that. So that doesn't help then. Right. Well, we tried. All I've got to do now is get this back together. These network conversion things, these little plastic things, when they converted them to modular, so you can pull the line cord out, these always seem to break. They must be made of really brittle plastic. This one was broken, got bits broken out of it, but they always seem to end up broken. They are not very secure, shall we say, at all. There we go. It's gone back together easier today. So smooth, those dials. Right. All I've got to do now is tip it upside down and put the screws back in. This is where they won't go back in, isn't it? There's one. Is yours an older one? I get. The older phones, an easy way to identify an older one from the 50s or 60s or maybe into the 70s is these feet, instead of them being round, are a sort of shaped like the corner of the phone sort of thing. They're an oddball shape to sort of fit the corner of the phone. They're sort of square on the inside corners but rounded on the outside corner to fit the corner of the phone. If you've got shaped feet like that, and they're often made out of leather, I believe, those. If you've got those weird shaped feet like that, then it's an older one. Gambo says my one hasn't got an L1. It will have. It's got to have got an L1 somewhere. It might not be marked, but it's got to have got an L1 somewhere. It's got to have one. Just might not be marked as one. But yeah, it's got to have one somewhere. Well, yeah, aren't they good? I do like it. I do like a nice 500. I've got a yellow one, I've got a couple of green ones, I've got sort of a pinky, orangey, sort of peachy coloured one. I've got an ivory one. I'd like a red one, I'd like a blue one as well. But they also did different shades of various colours. Gembo says his phone is a 76 by Western Electric. Well, it should be very similar to this there. Who's this one by? This is Western Electric, this one. I'll put that under there like that. Can you see that? It says Bell System Property. Then it says not for sale, Western Electric. And what did I say this was? 79. So it'd be very strange if you've got a different network in yours. I'd be very surprised. Yeah, 1179 I've got in this. Yeah, let's have some photos, Gambo, and we'll try and sort you out with that. But it shouldn't be too difficult. They are very nice phones. I want one with the speaker set, like Charlie used to communicate through on Charlie's Angels. And they're very, very rare. In fact, they're so rare that when they were making the Charlie's Angels movies, they got it wrong. And in at least one of the movies, the speaker set changes partway through the movie. They must have probably had one in the props department and lost it, and then had to get another one in the props department, and the second one is slightly different. So it flicks backwards and forwards between two different ones. Watch carefully and you'll spot it. Penfold says, if you convert your USA phone to the UK phone system, does the cadence of the bell change from the USA bell tone to the UK bell tone? Right, depends what you mean by the cadence. If you mean sort of the pitch of it, no. The bells are a slightly different weight and a slightly different size. So when you hit the bell with something, with the clapper, or tap it with your finger or a screwdriver or something, it makes a different noise. The bells. So it makes a different noise for a start. But if by cadence you mean the actual pattern of the ring, i.e. the ring 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 for the UK, or the ring ring for America, do you like the impressions? No, that is purely done by the AC signal being sent down the phone line. Now what may be a little bit different, because of the difference between the 50 Hz and the 60 Hz in the two countries, the rate at which the clapper moves might be a little bit different. Yeah, which I think is what Wesley's just said in the chat. It will do. The cadence is dictated by the ringing current, which is from the exchange. So yeah. So it will. It's basically down to the speed the clapper moves. Will be slightly different. One country will be faster than the other country, but it's not enough to be noticeable, as far as I'm aware. This rings. It sounds like an American phone. I can try it. Would you like me to try it? This came with this, by the way. Hey. Very cool. You see, this is an American. If you get an American phone that comes wired for America, it's got this on it. Just get one of these, just plug it straight in, and then this there that plugs into my trusty extension 23, which is here. Okay, got that, and I'll ring it off another phone here. Now bear in mind this is going through a Revelation PBX, so it rings like the American ring. It does one ring is a ring, ring. It doesn't do the British way of doing it, but you'll see what I mean. And it's not working. Why is it not working? That's not on. Right, what have I done? That is dead as the proverbial dodo. It's not plugged in at the other end. No, it is plugged in at the other end. Why is this telephone dead? Was there something about this? Did I need a part for this? Hang on. I think I know why it's dead. I think I need a part, don't I? I think when I took this apart, there was... Oh no, that's alright in there. That seems to be alright in there. No, it's having me on now, this. Right. Oh, I know what I've not done. I've plugged that into there, but the line cord of the phone, because it's silly modular, I've not plugged the other end actually back into the phone. There. I have a feeling it might work now. Right. Let's try that again, shall we? It still doesn't do it. Oh, come on now. Dial on this. Right, that rings 21. Right. It's the bell that's not working in it. The bell's not playing ball in it for some reason. Why might that be? The bell's not having it. Right. Let's have a look then. Figure it out in a minute. So now am I doing? I'm an idiot. So that rings the other phone, yeah? And I hold that down, and on the black phone now, I will dial it. Oh, it's trying to ring. It's the clapper that's bent, I believe. Trying to ring, it's just not. Something to do with the bell. The bell's not set up right in it because it's trying to ring. Let's have a little look what's happening there and there with that bell. Now it's not moving much, so maybe this has something to do with it all going through two capacitors. Is there supposed to be a spring in it to return it one way? This bell. And now what I'm wondering, I can getting a bit more of a ding out of it. It's an interesting problem. May have to remove it out of the phone to have a look what's going on there. But it's only a single coil bell set, you see, so it only grabs it one way, and the AC ring, the magnet only pulls it one way, and the other way it's got to be sprung somehow, which I think is what this thing under here is supposed to do. But it's hardly moving that. I think that spring there, that I think is supposed to be under something. Just not sure what. Let's have a little look. So adjust it for loudness. Soft. Loud, I think you're supposed to be there and there. This is an interesting problem now we've got, isn't it? Didn't expect this one tonight. Does it move at all? No, it doesn't. Thought I might move it on there. Right, might have to research this one over the week ahead and see exactly how this is supposed to be loaded. But it's certainly trying to move this belt. Oh, I think I can see the problem. Whether I can fix it or not, though, is a different matter. Right, I shall have to have a look at another one and see if I can figure out what's going on here. But my main thought is that got it. Don't ask me to explain what I did, but I moved a little piece of wire. Right. Right. You're not going to be able to see this, I don't think, but right. Can you see that copper thing? See the bell clapper there? Yeah. Can you see the copper thing below it? This thing that I'm pointing at with my thumbnail now. Right? in that you'll see a funny little cutout shape in that, and just to the right of that cutout now you will see a metal wire sticking through. Yeah, now that was previously to the left where it is now, and that's why the bell wasn't ringing. Now I've moved that springy wire to the right. Now the bell holds more centrally and it rings. That's what I did. So it's all to do with that spring, and just to prove it, let me get myself back in focus. Hold that down if it's on the hook again, dial it again. There you have it. Gambo says, sorry Andy, especially as you were just going. Yeah. And Miguel said, check the bias spring on the ringer. Yeah, what confused me, Miguel, is there's two springs down there. There's the spring that has the there's the bit of wire that has the clapper on the end, basically. Then there's another springy kind of wire, and then there's a thinner springy wire below that, and I was looking at the wrong one, so it is entirely my fault, and we get you entirely right about the bias spring being in the wrong location. But I was just looking at the wrong bit of wire, so it's the thinner bit that is the bias spring. For future reference. So yes, unfortunately while I was doing all that with my head down in the phone, I wasn't looking at the chat, otherwise I would have got that earlier. So thank you for that, Miguel. You are a star and you were correct. Gambo says he's posted the picture of his 500 on the forum now. Dominic's popping off. It says have a great weekend. Thanks, Dominic. You too. Gambo says, mate, is the bell ringer turned down? Yes, it can be turned down because there's a wheel underneath somewhere. And all it does basically is it moves the bell in and out. If I do it now, you can you see, it just moves it inwards and outwards. And if I can do it while I'm ringing the phone, we'll see if it actually makes any difference to it, shall we? See? The further away you turn it, the louder it gets, see? So if you turn it inwards, the clapper's not moving so much, and it makes it quieter. That's it. And that's a sweet spot for that bell as well. So it actually touches that one, so I can now tighten that one up. So now, hopefully, pretty good. I mean, I've probably not got that adjusted quite right, but it's not too bad, it's not too far out. But I'm going to quit while I'm ahead there, right? Right, so yeah, so that is basically it for that one. Yes. But they are generally nice foams, these 500. I do like them. Plus they come in lots of different and exciting colours as well. Right, so the hard bit is, with this modular mashup, you've got to put the things sort of into the case. Before it all falls down onto the down and into place sort of thing. That's it. There we go. We're back together. Right. Oh, come on now. What's happening here? I'm in switch hook issues now. Right, let's have a look at that. Right, put that on. Make sure that modular connector fit goes into that hole there, and that one goes into that hole there. And then it should all just sit down there nicely. They work. That goes on there. Now, so if I now ring it again off the black one, yeah, all working. Thank you, good night. Yeah, so that is working now. That is excellent. Right, I shall unplug that, and I think we can call it a day there, unless anybody has any further questions. But yeah, the get was right. Totally right. 'Twas the bias spring, because it's a monocoil bell, and of course the AC only pulls it one way, because only basically one way of the AC attracts the magnet. Whereas in a 706 or something, there's normally two coils, so the AC pulls one way and tracks the ringer one way, and the other way and tracks it the other way. That's why it's AC ringing. So yes, it's a little tricky when you can't figure it out, but yeah, we've done it now, and I've even found a little twisty thing so I don't have to wind it all around the phone, all this cord. Cool. Right, that does about wrap it up for this week. Thanks to everybody for taking part once again. Remember, we will be back, all being well, next weekend around about 6 o'clock next Sunday for another. Who forgot to put the screws back in? My mother said there'd be days like this. not right. Whoever invented modular ought to be shot. Because it's rubbish. Because the bits that they invented break. Right. That looks better this time. See, that's a bit of the modular thing that's broke off. It's so brittle. And you can't convert them back to pre-modular, because when they make them modular, there's the little rounded hole that was in the case, they make into a big square cutout. They like chop a piece out of the case to convert them to modular. I suppose you could do the acetone trick and try and rebuild that bit of the case. Right, there we go, done it. Right, let's now see if ringing it works. Well, of course it doesn't, because you unplugged it, you fool. Right. Now let's see if ringing it works. Yes. Good enough for me. And does it work the other way? Yes. So you see, they do make a slightly different ringing noise, don't they? And I do like the American sound, actually, the American bells make. I wonder what would happen if you put a set of American bells into a 746, or vice versa. Would it make them? Would it make an American phone sound like a British phone, or a British phone sound like an American phone? I do not know. I don't even know if you could do it. I don't know if the bells are exactly the same size or not. They're fairly similar sort of size, but yeah, I don't know if you could swap them over. Right, I'm off now. Thanks to everybody for taking part in that again, and thanks for your help as well tonight, because people have really been good at diagnosing the faults and stuff tonight as well. So thanks to everybody for taking part. I will see you here same time, same place next week, hopefully though in the week before we get to next week. Hopefully there might be more about the radio station, so watch out for that. If you're not subscribed, make sure you do subscribe, and also hit that little bell icon thing so you get notified when a new video comes up as well. But from me for now, have a fantastic week ahead, and I will see you soon. Thanks for watching.